This is the Views from the Schott podcast. I'm your host, your one and only host, Tim Miller, and today is Thursday, August 14th, 2025, and I wish you a very, very, very happy Love Your Bookshop Day. Today's show is another edition of the 2025 Summer Guest Series. It's our first media member of the entire summer. It's Josh Poloha from 11 Warriors. Excited to have you here today, Josh. We're going to talk all about Ohio State hoops, of course. If you're new here, usually we get a lot of new traffic whenever we have a media member on. So if you're new, this is the #1 Ohio State basketball exclusive podcast, publishing content year-round, whether it's January in the midst of the season or now in August when it feels like a slow time. We're still here, always talking Ohio State hoops. You can follow at the Schott Pod on both Twitter and on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. For those of you who have been liking the videos on YouTube, thank you for that. Doing a great job. Please like this one as well. Keep the momentum up. You can subscribe there and give a 5-star review, maybe on wherever you're listening to your podcast. Shout out the Nut House. Josh, welcome to the Views from the Schott podcast. On a scale from the final Tuesday game of the winter before Christmas break for Ohio State basketball to court storming against Purdue 2 years ago, how excited are you to join the Views from the Schott podcast for the very first time?
I would give it a solid 9.9.
Okay.
I don't have it at 10 because that would be too perfect.
I was going to say, how do we get you to a 10? Is it just like your hard and fast rule? I don't give 10s whenever I join a podcast for the first time. Is that how?
No, do you know what? I'll give you a 10.
Okay.
Well, 10
I feel like I forced you into that, so I feel kind of bad now, but I'm taking it. We're taking it.
You're good.
All righty, Josh. So follow Josh on his socials, by the way, at Jorshp, JORSHP. Of course, he is at 11 Warriors, doing a great job pumping out content on Ohio State football and Ohio State basketball. So let's start here, Josh. After another rather disappointing season for Ohio State basketball, missing the NCAA tournament, and every single year I've done this podcast, I still would say it's not my fault, but we move on. Take me through maybe a postmortem. 17-15 last year. If we replay this season 10 times, is that about where we're at? Is 17-15? You say they're a little bit better, a little bit worse. Where do you think the season goes?
Well, the first question would be, does Sean Stewart still get in foul trouble every game if we replay the entire season?
I can't answer that. I can't answer if Michi leaves. I don't know. We're simulating 10 times.
All right. I'll give that they're better than their 17-15 record. I know a lot of people have, a lot of people are down about this Ohio State basketball team, but I think there's a lot to look forward to for one, and they left a lot on the table last year for two. I mean, they were one win away from the NCAA tournament. I know it's Ohio State. NCAA tournament's not like making the NCAA tournament is not just like the be all end all. It should be like making the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, making the third weekend. I mean, making the Final Four should not be out of the question for a program like Ohio State, even in the NIL era. But yeah, I mean, if you replay last season, there were a lot of good things, but then a lot of things that happened, such as Michi, where Michi leaving was a bad domino because it threw, we can talk about this too, it threw John Mobley into the fire. John Mobley was not supposed to be as impactful of a player as he was last year. But he was thrown in the fire, which I could honestly help this year. But yeah, just like a lot of not bad dominoes, but a lot of things that didn't go Ohio State's way that led to them being what they were.
Yeah, I've said a lot of last season was just bad luck, where the Ohio State fan base is what it is. Football comes first, and that's totally fine. But that means you give more attention to the football team than the basketball team. And sometimes you may just look up and see, man, Ohio State lost to Oregon, or man, Ohio State lost to Indiana last night. What the heck happened? When I went to bed, they were up, and then they lost in overtime. And I think a lot of the games last year, close losses, you combine that with an experience, you combine that with Michi Johnson leaving the team, Sean Stewart missing time, Micah Parrish missing a game. I get it was Indiana State. He still missed time. Every single player on the team who had any impact missed at least one game other than Bruce Thornton, and he was even banged up down the stretch. So you look at the depth, you look at the roster construction, which we can get into as well, but I think there was a lot of bad luck as you look back on last season. So take me through, Josh, what you would say if you could pinpoint a couple of factors that led to missing the NCAA tournament last year. Where would you go?
Ooh, man. I hate to blame this on just one, or just I'm trying to think, because that's a really good question. I would hate to blame this on just one player, but I think Michi Johnson was the starting domino.
It was, yeah.
Because I'll be honest. I mean, hindsight's 2020. When they brought him in, I thought it was a bad fit because he was an inefficient point guard that needs the ball in his hands when they literally have Bruce Thornton, who needs the ball in his hands and is much more efficient. So I thought it was a bad fit from the beginning. And then, it turned out to be that. But then him leaving made it so that Bruce Thornton was basically your only on-ball point guard that you trusted. I know John Mobley took that over a little bit, but he was a freshman. I mean, you can only trust a freshman so much, especially the freshman he's more known as a shooter than an on-ball point guard. But yeah, I'm not blaming him. I mean, he was dealing with personal things, etc. We don't have to get into all that. That's been discussed time and time again. But yeah, I think Michi, like that meme where it's like the small domino that leads to the bigger domino, I'd put Michi as the small domino.
Yeah, and there's so many things that kind of came downstream of that, kind of like we've already mentioned, the depth in the injuries, and you're without any kind of other on-ball guard. And as we went into the season, one of my major concerns for the team was three-point shooting. This has been a program that shot the three ball pretty well over the past several years, even the down years with Chris Holtman. But Michi Johnson Jr., I think, is a 32% three-point shooter his entire career, every season. Heading into this year, you obviously have the ability from John Mobley Jr., but Bruce Thornton, you wonder, how well is he going to shoot the three ball heading into year 3 when I think his three-point production went down as a sophomore. I could be wrong on that. You look at Sean Stewart, I think he was 50% from the three-point line last year, and 1 for 2. So yippee on that, I guess. Aaron Bradshaw did not have the impact that you expected either. So the three-point shooting was a concern. And when you lose Michi Johnson Jr., a player not necessarily known for shooting the three, you at least lose some spacing. You lose the ability for him to penetrate and kick the ball out, which is something he really was more of a slasher than your typical three-point shooting guard. So there were a lot of ramifications that came from that. Let's talk about roster construction too. So Jake Diebler, who will be on the show, maybe by the time you're listening to this, there'll be a show out with Jake Diebler joining here on the Views from the Schott podcast. But Jake Diebler last year went all in on potential. He said Aaron Bradshaw, Sean Stewart, former 5-star All-Americans, get them on the roster. Let's see what they can do. Michi Johnson Jr., obviously proven, but outside of that, you go to Micah Parrish, a lot of experience. It was a weird mix of guys who you grab out of the portal. So, Josh, what were your thoughts, if you remember going back to day 0 of the season on the portal class, and then as the season ended, take me through just overall thoughts on what Diebler did with that portal class last season.
I mean, you said roster construction. I think Jake Diebler, going into his first year as a full-time head coach, I wouldn't even necessarily call it potential, because stars do matter. Yes, they do matter. But for 5 stars, I think, it turns out that Aaron Bradshaw should not have been a 5-star. Unless he proves us wrong this year. But I think he was more about, I guess it could be potential, but it's more about like, they're a 5-star. So you expect them to hopefully be at least a 4-star, if not bring 5-star stuff to the table. But yeah, going back to roster construction, I just think Jake was trying to throw a lot of stuff against a wall and hope that some of it stuck. I don't know if that was the right thing to do. It turned out to not be the right thing to do. And he learned a lot, obviously, from this offseason. He's made a couple of really good additions, both depth-wise and starting pieces-wise. But yeah, the roster construction like I said with Michi coming in, it was cool. He was coming back. He was being like a Northeast Ohio kid coming home. But his fit never really made sense, to be honest. Same with, I mean, Aaron Bradshaw, you needed a big man. Sean Stewart, you were hoping could be like that high flying 4-man, 5, starting 4, backup 5. And then, yeah, it's almost like he was just looking for star power, literally, and hoping that it stuck rather than like building a team that coexisted together.
Yeah, and the opinion that I've had and that I've shared here on this show, for those who listen, they've heard me say it over and over again. The the approach that I'm taking this year, and the approach Dealer's made a complete shift in his approach in the transfer portal. But my opinion is, just like any of us starting our first job, or if you go back to playing your first year in any sport, going into your second year, you grow a lot, you learn a lot, you use the experiences that you took from year one, lessons, failures, whatever it may be, and you apply that to year two. Especially, I think about that now in my own life personally as a professional. You improve a lot from year one to year two. So that's been my take on Jake Diebler. I did an episode pretty recent after the season ended where I just put out the most scientific way to conduct an experiment, which is a Twitter poll. And I said, hey, are you more or less confident in Jake Diebler this time this year than you were last year, essentially? And a lot of people were just as confident in Jake Diebler. So I think that while the general consensus is we're not happy with where the program is, there's still a lot of hope for the future. And that, I think, a lot comes with the form of this year's portal class looking a lot better than it did last year. So how would you say this portal class heading into 2025 compares to last year's?
I mean, I think it might not have this quote unquote star potential, but I think based on roster construction and just like the needs that he brought in, it's going to fit a lot better. Well, I hope it fits a lot better. I guess we're not going to find out till the season, but it seems like it's going to fit better. It just has, like, even Christoph Tilly, you needed you needed an athletic big who can shoot a little bit, who won't just post up and put his back, and he can only shoot within like 3 feet of the basket. I mean, yeah, I just feel like they took a lot more time. I don't know if it was researching, scouting, whatever, but they seem to bring in players that fit the system rather than bring in players that you hope fit the system, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and one key I've heard this year in the summer compared to last year in the summer, it's not necessarily that anyone was going out of their way to share anything about how the culture wasn't where they want it to be last year. I think it was in a good spot, honestly. But I've heard a lot more this year that the team is meshing really, really well together. The energy, the culture, all those types of things, it's different than it was last year, which is easy to say after you miss the NCAA tournament. But I think the point still stands that not only do they have players who should fit Jake Diebler's system and the way Ohio State wants to play overall, but you also have to have the off the court meshing and gelling and things like that. So that's something that I think could be improved this year. Is just a chemistry overall within the team. So as you look back to last year, Josh,
Well, before we go on though, I think a main part of that too is the returning core that you brought back: Bruce Thornton, Devin Royal, and John Mobley Jr. Obviously, yes, they did get paid. It's not like they like came back for free. But I think like they want this thing. This sounds cliche, but they want to be Buckeyes. So I think them leading the charge and them having that cohesiveness and chemistry also plays a part of that as well.
and I think we have to talk about Bruce Thornton. There will literally there's no other way you can say it. There will never be another college basketball player like Bruce Thornton, a player who comes in as a freshman and plays, gets a bunch of playing time, produces as a freshman at a high level power conference university, stays there from freshman to senior year, no NBA draft, no transferring out anywhere, no red shirt, nothing like that. There will be another Bruce Thornton. So just speak to that, Josh, from what you've seen, obviously being around the team. I'm sure at times and talking to people, just what is Bruce Thornton as a Buckeye for 4 years? What does that mean for a place like Ohio State in this landscape right now where people jump ship every year?
I mean, yeah, you're right. There will never be another Bruce Thornton. 4 years. think about it, because you'll either be good enough to go to the NBA, or you'll want to be good enough to go to the NBA and be like, why am I at this place for 4 years? It's obviously not good for my development. I'm going somewhere else. Um, I don't know what he got paid by Ohio State, but I know he would have gotten paid elsewhere by big time. I mean, there were a couple big time programs that were trying to get him, along with John Mobley. But yeah, Bruce Thorne, I mean, this sounds another cliche. He embodies being a Buckeye. I mean, like he's everything you want in a leader, a player. You literally cannot speak. I mean, I'm an Ohio State fan. I've been a lifelong Ohio State fan. I know I'm a media member too, but like I don't think this is biased, but you literally can't come up with something bad to say about Bruce Thornton. He's never done anything off the court wrong. I apologize for swearing, but he plays his ass off. I mean, last year with Michi out, he played 40 minutes a game sometimes. He never complained. He was always press conferences and all that good stuff. He was always like a professional. He just like, if you can't find anything bad to say about a player, he's doing something right.
He was also named a captain as a freshman under Chris Holtmann.
That
like
too.
you go back to that year with the incredible class that came in with him and Felix Ekpara and Roddy Gale Jr. and Bryce Sensabaugh. And in the midst of all the turmoil of that freshman year, Bruce Thornton is named a captain. Couple months later, Roddy says I'm out. Felix says I'm out. Bryce Sensabaugh heads to the NBA draft. And Bruce Thornton is standing there alone in the locker room with his hands in the pocket saying, what do I do now? And he stuck it out. And now he sticks it out again, because let's just we don't need to be oblivious to the situation of NIL. Bruce Thornton, if he's not having coaches reach out to him, they're reaching out to Mama Thornton for sure and
Correct.
saying, hey, like, what's it going to take? How do we get you to be a Gator or a Bulldog or a Longhorn or whatever programs are reaching out to him? Like, it obviously he's getting as much attention as possible. And the fact that Ohio State retains him and Devin Royal and John Mobley Jr., it makes you really start to get hopeful about 2025 for Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, that core group, you hope them all make a jump. I know we can talk about Devin Royal. Probably going to be Ohio State's 3-man at least to start the season. That's be interesting. Because he's sort of a tweener where he's too big to be a 3, but he's too short to be a 4. Hopefully he gets a 3-point shot. We can talk about that too. There's a lot of stuff that we keep saying we'll talk about it.
So Devin is one that I wanted to talk about. So let's dive into that now.
Let me plug my laptop because I completely forgot to do so before the show and it's about to die. So, but keep going. I'll take me 5 seconds.
Yeah, you're good. So we'll talk about Devin here. The question for him is, can he play the 3? Can he play on the wing? The 3-point shooting has not been there. I think he shot around 17, 20-ish% last season from deep for Ohio State. And it's not just that. It's also can you handle the ball? Can you dribble? Can you slash? Can you create from behind the 3-point line? So I feel like I'm higher on the team coming into this year than I was last year. The major concern that I have for Ohio State right now is, can Devin Royal play the 3? From the past 2 years of what we've seen, I'm not sold. Josh, what do you say?
It's one of those things where like college basketball is weird because even if he starts at the 3 per se, how many minutes is he actually going to play the 3? I mean, you have Tilly at the 5. You have, Brandon Noel. You have a bunch of guys who could be. Brandon Noel, he's a questionable 3 too. If there's one question about this Ohio State team that I had going this season, it would be like, who's going to be the 3-man for when they play the best forward, the best 3 guys in the country? Who's going to guard them for 40 minutes a game? So yeah, that's probably the biggest question mark. But you also have plenty of potential there too, where if Devin Royal works out, I'm not going to say the sky's the limit for this team, because that's a lot to say after what happened the last 3 years. But I think I'm higher, like you said, I think I'm higher on this team than most, just because their depth is just seems like this is the most depth they've had in quite a long time, it seems like, to be honest.
Yeah, and so The interesting thing, and this is something that a player told me just in casual conversations, is we play 4 out, 1 in. So Devin playing the 3, he's playing outside on the 3-point line, as is Brandon Knoll at the 4. Like, there's not really a huge difference there. And my thought, which I'm not the X's and O's guy at all, but my thought is you can probably draw up certain actions for Devin Royal, and he may play the wing. You're going to get him down in the post because that's where he's good, scoring over guys, kind of like Zed Key, just a couple inches shorter, where you can be really good on the block and score over guys who are bigger, taller than you. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that looks coming into this year. But you go ahead.
No, I was like, I'm not worried about it offensively. I'm more worried about it defensively. Just
Yeah.
because if you have Brandon Knoll and Devin Royal, hopefully one of them can guard a 3. Because if neither of them can guard a 3, that's a huge issue.
Yeah.
And then obviously you
And
go small and take out Tilly and put in someone else. So it's your 4 and 5 are those two. But just like when all 3 of them are in there, especially to start a game, which we're expecting that to be a starting front court, it'll just be interesting to see how the 3 is guarded, I guess. I mean, I have all the hope and faith in Devin because he's, I mean, that high school. I was thinking of that high school team with Sonny Styles and Devin Royal. Jeez, I don't know if you
and playing Gabe Cups in the state championship.
Yeah, exactly. And we can talk about Gabe Cups too, because I feel like I'm higher on him than most as well. I promise I'm not being biased. I mean, I would the last 3 years I've the least a bit biased, but yeah, I just think, and I mean, even going back to the starting lineup and stuff, while 3-point shooting has been a problem, rebounding has also been a problem. So if Devin's your 3, I mean, you have one of the best rebounders in the Big Ten percentage-wise at your 3-man. So rebounding, if shooting is a problem, rebounding should be a plus. So I guess it evens out for the most part, as long as the biggest question I have, which is weird because defense is it hasn't really like necessarily been an issue, but it's mainly if we had one issue the last 3 years, it's been offense. And I think this year offense should not be an issue. And I have questions about defense.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, you should just kind of, it's addition by subtraction, rebounding. You have a player who's 7'1", listed 7'1" last year in Aaron Bradshaw, and he has what, a 12% rebounding? It was off, absolutely horrible. Like just put your hands up and grab the ball, bro. Like it's easy for me to say, watching on TV for the most part, sometimes being there, but like your wingspan is almost as tall as a hoop. Just grab the ball, man. So I think like Tilly coming in with maybe a little bit more of girth and thickness, and you get Brandon Knoll, who's got a little bit more size. If you slide Royal from the 4 to the 3, get a little bit more size there and the rebounding ability. So we'll see what happens. Gabe Cups is another player you mentioned. That's a player who I've heard from the coaching staff, candidly, they really, really like Gabe Cups. I think inside the Schott, people are a lot more excited about Gabe Cups than fans at large. So what's your take on a player like Gabe Cups?
Gabe Cups was hated on at first because of that rumor of the NIL. Let's be honest. But when that first started, I mean, anyone can make it. I'm not saying that the number's made up. I would say it's more than it was. But right when that came out, it's one of those things where it's NIL. Until we get like a government body where you have to like prove how much NIL you get, if someone reports that a player is getting such and such, 50% of the fans are going to believe it. So I
don't give a crap. I can't bring myself to care about how much Gabe Cups is getting in NIL. This isn't the NFL. We don't have a salary cap here. There's no salary. If Ohio State has $25 million to spend in NIL, which on basketball they don't, and that's fine. But if they did, who cares? Why are we getting so worked up about how much a guy is getting? Like, everyone's going to get a piece of the pie. We don't know how big the pie is. So if we don't know how big the pie is, if it's $600K or 1.2 million, why do I give a crap?
Exactly. It's not our money, is it? I know. I completely.
Why are you mad? It's not your money. Let Gabe Cups make what he wants to make.
Hey, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I don't know. I'm going to say this, and I hope I don't regret it. Gabe Cups is a poor man's Aaron Craft.
Okay. So he just slaps the floor and plays some defense, couple of clutch threes here and there, finishes at the rim, and that's what we get.
He's going to work his ass off defensively. He's going to make you work for everything you get, both in practice and in games. I think in practice, that's huge. I mean, imagine if you're Bruce Thornton and you have Gabe Cupps hounding you all practice. I don't care if you're a senior. I don't care if you're a fourth-year player or not. That's going to improve you as a player. Iron sharpens iron, I guess you would say, or whatever that is. So I know he's only averaged like 2 points a game in his career, but I just think he's an Ohio kid. He wants, just like Jake Diebler, he wants Ohio State to be successful and needs to do everything in his power to make that happen. But I think he's going to give you everything he has on a nightly basis. And even if he's not showing up in the box score, he's going to make sure that defensively, he's going to make that offensive player work his ass off to get every single point and every single assist that he gets.
Yeah, and he also too, like, as you go back to the NIL, I don't know what the number was. I don't know the inside story to this. My assumption is it wasn't that hard for Jake Diebler to land Gabe Cupps. I know that I'm sure he had interest from several other programs, especially in the Big Ten. He's an Ohio kid, like you mentioned. Ohio State was in his final three when he came out of high school. And candidly, I had an article prepped and ready to go days before it was announced. And it's just like it wasn't that hard to know where Gabe Cupps was going. I don't think it was that hard for Ohio State to get him either. So I think that part, I say all that to say, kind of like you said, like, this guy, he's got some skin in the game. This actually matters to him, and it matters to every player. But the same reason why I'm still in on Jake Diebler is the same reason I would be in on Gabe Cupps. Is you're from the state of Ohio, you understand what Ohio State, what it means to be an Ohio State Buckeye, whether it's basketball, whether it's football, whether it's rifle, women's field hockey, don't give a crap. It means something to be a Buckeye if you're from the state of Ohio. So I think that's big for a guy like Cupps.
Yeah. I mean, you can't put it, this sounds cliche again in the NIL world, but you literally can't put a price tag on that. You can say you love Ohio, you can say you know what it means to be an Ohio State Buckeye, you can say you love to be a Buckeye, but unless you're like, there's something about being an Ohio kid where you grew up watching Ohio State, whether it be football, basketball, anything, and just like knowing what it takes to do that, and knowing that, like, just having that in your head where you want to do everything possible to make the team better. To, like, let's be honest, Gabe Cupps, he could play. I mean, I don't think he's probably gonna be the second, third point guard off the bench. Say he plays 15 minutes a night. For those 15 minutes, he's probably going to give you 4 hard fouls. He's going to make the offensive point, whoever the point guard is, or lead guard, he's going to make him work for everything he has. And even I will even say, even if he averages 3 or 4 points a game, he's going to bring so much defensively, both in practice and in games, where it'll be worth it.
Yeah, and this is something that I said. This reminds me of the Bryce Sensabaugh situation, where I'm not here at all to talk poorly about Bryce Sensabaugh, but his defensive chops for Ohio State in his freshman year, it was not there. He didn't rebound defensively for Ohio State as much as he could have. And at the end of the year, when Ohio State didn't have Sensabaugh, you didn't need to replace his 16 points per game. You really needed to replace 10, 12, because you're going to make up some points defensively because he's not out there, and he was kind of a liability at times. So I think it's kind of a similar situation for Gabe Cupps, where you may add 3-4 points per game offensively, but maybe you're adding 4 points per game defensively because you're stopping the opposing offense from scoring 2, 3, 4, 5 points per game, or whatever the case may be. So
I completely agree. And on a team where defense seems to be the liability, it's nice to have a guy like Gabe Cupps.
Yeah, absolutely. So heading into 2025, Josh, overall, what is your expectation for this team? Do they finally make the NCAA tournament? Do they finally make it to a second week in the NCAA tournament? Or are we back, kind of with our tail between our legs saying, man, we missed the NCAA tournament again. What do we do about Ohio State basketball?
Well, I'll put it this way. If the tail is between our legs, we're not going to be questioning what we're going to do with Ohio State basketball. We're going to be questioning with who the next head coach is.
Yeah.
I know both of us. I mean, I listen to you whenever you have podcasts out weekly, doing the awesome whatever. you're a huge fan of Jake Diebler. He's easy to root for. I'm a huge fan. I mean, it's cliche, but he embodies everything that you want in an Ohio State coach or player. If there's anyone in the world that wants Ohio State basketball to be successful, it's Jake Diebler. So he's going to do everything in his power. So I mean, both as a fan both as a fan of the team and as a fan of Jake, I hope they're successful this year because I don't want him to be let go. But I would say expectations wise, man, the ceiling for this team could be like really good. I would say like a top 15 team by the end of the year. But then if things don't fall right, it could be like, oh my gosh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you,
the camera went off again, and I don't know why. So I'll try to fix that.
you're good. I can talk while you do that. You look at players like Josh Ojawuna, where he may be back in December, November, whenever that may be. And if you can get him back, that adds a little boost for Ohio State, where maybe Ivan Negavon plays a few less minutes per game and you can continue to develop him as a sophomore at Ohio State. As Brandon Knoll gets used to playing in the Big Ten and not the Horizon, that could be, another plus for Ohio State. Are you going to get much more out of Bruce Thornton? Probably not, but you really don't need that much more out of Bruce Thornton. If
You're
Bruce Thornton is,
Yeah,
go
go
ahead.
on. No, keep going. No, I was just saying before you move down to the point guards, you're missing one more big man who I am really high on. I don't know if you're as high on him. Amari Bynum,
Yeah.
I won't say that he's gonna be as impactful as Bryce Sensabaugh was, but I think he's gonna be really good.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is that it's so hard to project Big Ten all freshman team, like anything like that, because you have 18 teams in the Big Ten now. It's not 14. It's not 10. So to place the expectation that a guy is going to be Big Ten all freshman, that's really, really hard to do, but it doesn't take away from the impact. Kind of like you, I've heard Mari Bynum, I mean, he could be really, really, really impactful for Ohio State. And again, for the fans who are all in on football, that's fine. I grew up loving Ohio State football just as much as anyone else. But I mean, this is going to be a name that if you're really into football, Amari Bynum, you're going to look up in January, and this guy's going to have like 14-6 or something like that, scoring from all over the floor. So I think he could be very, very impactful for Ohio State. And if he is, the ceiling is raised even more.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Devin, Brandon Noel, and Bynum as like your 3-4 guys, I mean, that is one heck of a trio. And you literally just need two of them to work out. If three of them work out, great. If two of them work out, great. But you literally just need two out of those three to work out. And if all three work out, I mean, man, you can throw out so many different lineups. You can throw so many different lineups out there, whether it be like small man where you take out Tilly or whatever it is. But I don't know. I hope I'm not too high on Bynum. But I am.
Well,
A really good player beginning this season.
You also run into a good problem to have where you don't want to take Christoph Tilly off the floor either. I've heard that he has looked really good for Ohio State. They're really excited for him this year too. That's not a guy we've talked about, but he can score from the 3-point line into the paint as a 7-footer. He's a very unique type of player. So if you've got him rolling, if you've got Bynum rolling, you've got Ojawuna rolling, like any combination, like you said, in the front court, it could be really, really exciting to watch for Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, imagine a pick and roll where you have Bruce at the point with either Tilly, Devin Royal, or, I mean, Noel, but he's not that athletic. I'd say either Tilly, Royal, or Bynum coming up setting the screen. Bruce is rolling the basket. You had those three either rolling or popping, and then you have Mobley in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not trying to be too wow, this is going to be incredible, but that could be really freaking good if it works out.
You can see it. And we haven't even spoken that much about John Mobley Jr. I mean, he's so slippery with the ball in his hands. He's so creative as a scorer. He needs to be better pulling up from the mid-range. He was very, very bad there last year. But outside of that, his range is limitless. It's unlimited. He can hit from deep. He can use the pick and roll. I mean, he's a slippery player overall, and he can score as well. So, again, you don't want to get too high on the team and place expectations that are insane on them. But at the same time, you can see where this goes really, really well. So you can feel free to comment on that. If you have nothing there, my next question would be, how does this all go wrong?
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Like, how do we get to the other side of this? No, we may not win 30 games, believe it or not. This may not happen.
No. Well, let's be honest. Games. I mean, geez, if they
Unless.
holy cow. But Mobley, he does have his downfalls. His mid-range, like you said, his defense. But one, he was thrown in the fire, like we talked about at the beginning, with Michi going out. He was not supposed to have the role that he did last year. It should help out this year in terms of his development, but he was a true freshman that should not have. He was thrown in the fire. Let's be honest. Secondly, judging by the NIL offers, this is all I'll say. Judging by the NIL offers he had on the table to leave Ohio State, he's a very good player. No matter what you think of him, no matter if you think he's like a 3-point specialist, and that's it because he can't play defense. Well, my bad. He didn't play defense. I think he can play defense if he works on that a little bit more. Hopefully he did this offseason. But judging by some of the NIL offers he had, a lot of other teams, including at least one Big Ten team, think very, 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 very highly of John Mobley Jr.
Yeah, I heard from someone probably a week before it was officially announced that he would be back that, yeah, John Mobley Jr. is coming back. And yes, he got paid. Like he got his money to stay at Ohio State. So there's a lot of value in him. So let's take it to the opposite now, because we've been so high on Ohio State. We might as well just, I guess we got to close off the show by saying, how does this just, how do we turn Ohio State basketball into a dumpster fire? So my thoughts would be, number one, kind of like we mentioned with Devin Royal, if he cannot play on the wing, that's going to be a huge problem, because I think him, along with Brandon Knoll, there are some question marks there about how successful they will be on the wing playing for Ohio State for different reasons. Knoll taking a step up in competition level. Royal just hasn't necessarily done that. So I think that is one major roadblock potentially for Ohio State. Another that I would think of is, as you look at what happened last year, can you stay healthy? And that's something that, if you missed the episode with associate head coach Joel Justice, he talked about. It's on the last show, where he said we're doing things differently this summer than we did last summer to make sure we're playing our best basketball in March. That's very, very important to Coach Diebler. So that's another big aspect where you got to stay healthy throughout the entire season. That could, I mean, you could say that about any team. But the biggest thing I think of is, if Devin Royal, Brandon Knoll don't pan out on the wing for Ohio State, you could be in 17 and 15 range again.
Yeah, and like we talked about, I mean, you need both of them to not work out, and you need Bynum not work out. You need all three of those to not happen, basically. I'm not saying that Bynum's going to be like your starting wing ever, because I don't think that's going to happen this season. Well, let's be honest. If that does happen, that means that Devin didn't work out, which would be a problem. But yeah, I mean, you just need. There's no. Okay, I guess I shouldn't say there's no way they don't go better than 7-15, because we've seen the last 3 years. But you just need so much to not happen for them to not make the NCAA tournament. So and speaking of injuries, I mean, look at, I don't want to compare this team to Ohio State football, but look at how Ohio State football, they brought in Quinshawn Judkins because Travion Henderson had injury history. So they made them both, they brought in a superstar to split time, and look, boom, now they're both healthy for a 16-game season. So now, I mean, unless we have another Michi Johnson situation where I don't see that, Bruce Thornton will not have to average 40 points a game, or 40 points. Geez, I wish he'd average 40 points. He won't have to average 40 minutes a game to end the season.
Yes.
So that's going to help him out. One, it's going to help him out to stay healthy. And two, it's going to help him out where he's going to be able to play harder for the time that he's in. Let's be honest, no matter how good a shape you're in, if you're playing 40 minutes a night and being pressed for 10, 15 minutes, you're going to get tired. And then that's going to affect your shot. That's going to affect, hey, should I drive? No, I'm just going to pull up and shoot this 20-footer. Why drive to the basket? It's going to affect your defense, everything. So I think depth being such a positive for this team going into the season is going to pay dividends in terms of staying healthy and just being much more fresh once February and March roll around.
All right. So I'll ask you this. Anytime I have a media member on, especially if they have anything to do with Ohio State football, if you're at the end of the show at this point, you're probably a Buckeye basketball sicko, and I thank you for that. I thank you for being here. Make sure you're subscribed. But I'll give you the chance. Talk Ohio State football with me. What are our thoughts as we head into this game with Texas?
The fact that the fact that it's a noon game is so embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the biggest season opener probably in college football history. That's at noon. But we've complained enough about that everywhere and anywhere. I mean, I don't want to have too high of expectations coming off of a national championship because last season was so great, especially because the national championship was actually on my birthday, so it was like a great way to celebrate to end the birthday. Yeah. So I don't want to have too high of expectations. I mean, geez, when you had the best offensive player in the country in Jeremiah Smith, when you had the best defensive player in the country in Caleb Downs, obviously you need a quarterback. It's the most important position in sports. I mean, the sky is the limit for football. I just don't want to have too high of expectations. And no matter what happens in the Texas game, win or lose, I hope nothing is I hope we don't get too high or too low. Because one, it's a season opener with a quarterback that will be making his, well, I guess Lincoln Keenan started the Cat Bowl a couple years ago, but his first legitimate start. So the team's only going to get better. But I mean, in this new landscape of college football too, you're allowed one. Like, think of if this game happened like 4 years ago, think of how much would be on the line. If you lose,
isn't it sad? Don't like.
Crazy.
Can we just hate on the expanded playoff for a second as well? Like, this game, it's the NFL. If we lose, it's like, well, just don't lose a couple more and you'll be okay. But sorry, I'm anti-expansion.
But then Ohio State wouldn't have won their last 2 titles without the expansion.
Good, they didn't deserve it. Is it? Should I have said that?
Oh,
Ohio State. Oh yeah.
You're
sorry.
Canceled.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm a basketball pod. Sorry, I have bad opinions on the football team. Shocker.
I think. Yeah. I mean, the BCS era was fun in a way. But then it was crazy where, like, man, if you lost one game, you might not make the national championship. I don't know. It goes.
What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing. Which, and again, like, I'm the 2014 title. Like, that was so freaking special, and I loved it. And I'm so thankful that we got the expanded playoff that year for that Ohio State team. But, man, 12? 16?
I would say it's not stopping at 12.
68? Why not? Let's start the postseason in October.
Speaking of expanded playoff, okay, I'm fine with like 16 football teams, but there should not be 68 basketball teams. It's going to happen because the money. It's all about. I mean, that's what college sports is, literally infinite. It's going to be like, hey, this team that just went under 500 is on the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do?
Ohio State would have been in last year with the expand, but I mean they'll continue to toe the line until they're like, hey guys, we took a no like 5 times in 12 years. It's time. We've got to get Nebraska in the NCAA tournament. It's what the fans want. Okay, like, yeah, I'm out on that as well. Just let's make it small. 68 is good. 64 was better, but we don't have to do. Everyone doesn't need to be in, okay? It's okay to play in the crown. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I'm so out on that. It's just like the bubble is fun to a degree until it's teams that are bad are on the bubble.
Yeah. Even Ohio State last year.
Worse. Yeah, to make it even worse, teams that are bad make the tournament.
And this is like, again, if you're listening at this point or watching on YouTube, then like you're a trooper, and I appreciate that. I assume that means you're a ride or die with the show. I would get destroyed. Like, Ohio State fans, they have, for all of the great that they bring to the sports world, which is just so much. One weakness is we struggle to be unbiased. Like, I can separate my fandom of college football and college basketball from my fandom of Ohio State, and I'm sorry. There are some things where even if it hurts Ohio State in one year, if it's better for the betterment of the sport, I'm okay with that because Ohio State football, especially, they will be back. It's not a huge deal. I think it's the same for Ohio State basketball. But all that to say, Ohio State plays Texas on August 30th, and this basketball pod doesn't have much good to say about it, apparently, other than We're roasting Ohio State football. So I'm gonna have to backtrack.
Don't put we. Don't put we.
Sorry, I got a mouse in my pocket. It's just me. Just me. Don't worry.
And one thing I did want to get, I mean, we can, maybe you'll have me back for another offseason pod. I don't know if you remember Margaritaville, where students were camping out for games.
Yeah.
It started in 2012, and I was part of that group.
So
we can talk about that another time, because I know we're running
so
time. Well,
just
overtime, literally.
Some views from the Schott podcast lore. Okay, I said some critical things of the Nut House last December. Woke up the next day, our rating, and this is why I always say on Spotify especially, please give a 5-star review to the show. They destroyed me. I woke up to 21-star reviews because they were mad that I said, hey, can you guys be a little louder, please? Like,
were you wrong though?
It doesn't matter. They gave me the 1-star review, and Spotify said, screw you, man. Like, sucks to suck. Don't say bad things about the Nut House, man. We're siding with them. Whatever. So take me through it. What was life like when the Nut House was, when you were a part of the Nut House? No bias here. Just when you're a part of it. I didn't say that.
One, it was in the Schott, so you can only get so much fun in the Schott, let's be honest.
But it was still fun at that time.
It was fun, though. It was fun. We literally, I'll never forget, hold on, I'm trying to think now. I graduated in 2013. I'm pretty sure it might have been 2011. It might have been my junior year. Yeah, it was my junior year. It was my junior year. I'm pretty sure Ohio State was hosting Duke in the Big Ten ACC Challenge the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Would that line up? Yeah. And it was the Sunday, we were all coming back to campus. I think Ohio State was on the road at Michigan that year. And one of my buddies we had a group message. We were just like, hey, want to go start camping out for the Ohio State Duke game. So we literally, college Josh did things that adult Josh would be like, what the heck were you doing? I sat on a fold-out chair for 2 nights and like 35.
2 nights?
2 nights.
So you didn't leave for 48 hours?
No, we left. We could go to class, but one of us always had to be there.
Okay, got you.
You're our spot. And it was like a group of like 6 of us. And then it led to, by the time it was my senior year, it was like 15, 20 tents. And we literally called it, I don't know who came up with the name Margaritaville. But yeah, then it just became a thing. And the things you do to camp out to get first row tickets when you could just show up and 2 hours before a game and get third row. Now looking back, it's like, what was I doing? But it was one of those things where like, just back then, it was just like, we can't not do this anymore. So we just did it. And it was cool. It was fun. It became a thing. The news came. I mean, the guys brought out pizzas all the time. But yeah, I don't remember who brought it up in our group, but one of us was just like, hey, let's go camp out for the Duke game. And we did it. And then it just, every game after that, because that was obviously the biggest game of the non-conference, but that was also when Ohio State was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it just became a thing. And it was a great time to an extent, but sleeping stunk.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
Even in a tent, you can be in like the most 5-star tent in the world. It's still going to not be comfortable.
So did Coach Mata ever come out and like give you a hat, a slap on the butt, like any interaction there?
Yeah, there was always interaction from the players and coaches. I mean, oh shoot, my camera just went out again. I need to stop fidgeting because I was fidgeting with the cord. But yeah, they always came out. I mean, they always, especially because we were there early enough where they would literally have like shoot around and then would come out of practice. Yeah, now I have like no friends with some of the smaller players. That Margaritaville was awesome. I went to a couple of great games. I mean, if you've never been to a game at Duke, I don't know if you have, but anyone would. Get on your podcast to go to the game at Duke. I guess it's inexplainable because of the atmosphere, what it looks like. Just one of those things where like you literally can't explain it. Same with Purdue. Purdue's arena, Mackey Arena. I wish the Schott was like somewhat resemble Mackey Arena.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit more exciting than sitting section 320 row F. It sounds like in the Schott, which again, If you're at this point in the show, because I have evangelized this to the masses. Everyone knows we cannot go back and play at St. John Arena. We just cannot do it. It's impossible. So
one, it's impossible, and two, just enjoy having an NBA arena on a college campus because that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, now what? Anything else we need to touch on today? Any great stories, or do we? We're recording on a Tuesday night. Is it just bedtime? I'm fired up at this point.
Every morning I get up and I'm like, I need to go to bed early tonight. And then every night I'm like, I'm not going to bed early tonight. So no, it's not bedtime for me. I mean, I'm excited now for Ohio State basketball. Obviously, I'm an Ohio State junkie, so I love football and basketball, but both teams should hopefully be pretty good. At least I think really good, to be honest. Trying to think if there's anything we didn't cover, because I don't think there is. I know Ohio State, they should have some scrimmage. Basketball should have some scrimmages coming up. So we should get some info on those. The one against OU will be interesting. It's open to the fans, which is cool. Most of the scrimmages are usually secret scrimmages, so you not only like can't go to them, but you don't technically know about them per se. Yeah, I mean, I love what you do here. I mean, whether it's weekly during the season, whether it's bi-weekly during the off season, whatever it is, you do some great work here. I even told you before the show, I go on walks every night after work. You're one of the first podcasts I listen to outside of 11 Warriors guys. Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. You're killing it.
Yeah, appreciate it a bunch, Josh, and appreciate you being here. Almost an hour. Absolutely love the conversation. We'll definitely have to have you back at some point here to talk Ohio State hoops, maybe some Ohio State football. I need to rectify some mistakes that I've made tonight. That's clear. I need to be put in a 12-step program or something like that for saying the things that I have. And that's on me. It's completely on me, and not on Josh. So we'll fix that at some point as well and figure out what else we can get into. But Josh, it's been a pleasure having you here. Make sure, again, follow him on Twitter at JorshP, JORSHP. Josh Poloha, it's been a pleasure. Of 11 Warriors, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you, good sir. I look forward. I hope you have me back, whether it be during the off season, whether it be during the season. I'm always more than happy to jump on, talk basketball, football, anything and everything. Ohio State sports related. So thank you. Yeah. And like I said, thank you again. Right when you reached out, there was no hesitation. Yes, I'll be on. Just anytime, anywhere.